Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of GEGGA. What's up, Kat?
The sky, Lee.
I
How to do it. I had to do
know,
it.
I know. You're screaming, what is up, like you haven't seen the sky. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
That's enough
It's
Childish Gambino lyrics for one
oh
episode of
I
GEGGA.
childish. Well, sorry. Anyway, we're not going to go there. Although, hey, Atlanta is a great series.
Atlanta is fantastic. Donald Glover is one of the smartest people I've ever seen, and I just want to sit in a room with him and see what happens. I got a feeling to be entertained through comedy, dance, Troy and Abed's riffing. Anyway, sorry. Let's get to the meat of the sandwich because we are a low carb offering of educational information.
That's true.
For all of our GEG Georgia members, and so getting to it, Kat and I were in a webinar this morning with DOE discussing instructional technology needs, really instructional technology and media specialist needs across the state. There's a lot of really good feedback coming from the participants about trying to drive the needs of people in those positions to see what can be done to support them. I feel like I'm saying a lot of words there that kind of go together.
Yeah, it was hard to describe the kind of, not weirdness, but it's just kind of a new approach. I mean, first of all, the fact I'm happy that they're combining the media specialists and instructional technology, because in this day and age, they really do go hand in hand. And in smaller districts, more often than not, the media specialist ends up being tasked with the instructional technology. And then, of course, you have other smaller districts where instructional technology ends up doing stuff with information technology. These roles are so unique unto themselves, and they have so much in common. So I'm happy that Georgia Department of Education is putting them together and having a phone call together, because they made a listserv, right? So last summer over here in Oconee, we hosted the Georgia Instructional Technology Committee Consortium on Personalized Learning and Classroom Innovation, I think was the official title.
GAITC, I believe.
You got it. And it was the second one. And Bob Swigum, who is our CIO, showed up and was asking us questions and kind of getting a pulse check, I guess, of instructional technology, because he's totally thinking, information technology and infrastructure, and I totally get that. You cannot have a functional anything without having that foundation. So from that came a listserv, and if you're not familiar with the listserv, we can put that in the GED Georgia group, so you can sign up. Our only request is, ideally, you really do want to sign up just with your work email. I wouldn't necessarily do it with personal email. However, you could join that listserv. And how many members did you say was on that listserv now?
Over 1,000. But
it was a lot.
Here's my complaint about the listserv. I was one of the ones that recommended the idea and kind of threw it out there to him. I have been kicked off that thing no less than 14 times.
You've been kicked off? I've never been kicked off that listserv.
Yeah, it's repeated. Like, I get on there and I send something, and I get lost in a shuffle. I don't know what's happened. I've angered. You know what I think it is,
to be honest, because I noticed Clint sent out something. Clint Winter, the mutual friend of ours over in Clark County, and he sent out something to the listserv, and it went to my spam. So a lot of times, a lot of listserv stuff goes, and that also goes to the tech listserv. There's like a networking and technology listserv that they have as well, and that also sometimes goes in my spam. So perhaps that could be one of the issues.
It could be. I'll double check the spam stuff too. But yeah, whenever I get on there, I get an email like a week or two later. It says, "Hey, you've been removed from." Anyway, so that got me thinking. Like, so you in your place have certain job responsibilities and duties. Me in my place have certain responsibilities and duties. We have one media specialist covering 2 schools. Down the road, there's a media specialist at every school and half an instructional technologist. So what we're lacking in that, and what makes it kind of difficult to support, is that consistency across the state and that kind of clear mission and vision of what those roles are and how to help them be better. We have TEKs for teachers. We have LAPs for administrators. It's all different.
Nothing really for technology.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, even for media, in our system, we do a thing called Form A and B, which you have a professional learning goal and a sort of something you hope to achieve to school improvement and then professional learning. What are you going to do for those two things? And that's your form of evaluation. So it's hard to critically evaluate and try to provide them the assistance they need.
That's very true, and I understand why this is happening with this field. I mean, as much as we don't want to say it's newish, it's newish.
It
you
is.
know, because media specialists traditionally were with the librarians. Instructional technology did not really exist for a long time. And of course, as we know, education is always at least 5 to 10 years behind the rest of the world. It really is. And, you know, we own up to it, and that's a good thing. You know, but Georgia Department of Education is, you know, kind of catching up with what we're starting to see. Because it isn't really once you get into these roles, at least for a year or two, you start to kind of going, huh, this is interesting. Yeah, so having a common basis, well, I mean, that's what we need now at this point. So it's been at least, what, 5, 6 years that we've been having some sort of, well, when I started at Gwinnett County, we had a TST, we had 2 TSTs. I was at Mill Creek, which is the biggest high school in the state at that time. We had 2 TSTs and we had 2 LSTCs. Those are your local school technology coordinators. So Gwinnett was on it. But that's because they're huge, and the little systems didn't have that until recently. But now that it's kind of proliferated, almost every system has some sort of instructional technology, whether it's teacher-based, school-based, district-based, et cetera, so forth. We're starting to see this divisiveness of, well, I do this and I do this and no one else does what I do. It's very isolating. So we need some sort of joint vision, and it's hard to do that at the Department of Education.
It is because, I mean, in any sort of hierarchical system, wherever you're based is kind of what you kind of see as your reality. So they're in the metro area and they see what Fulton, Cobb, Gwinnett, the big boys are doing, and us little folk out here in the outlying areas aren't able to do, able's not maybe not the right word, aren't doing the same thing. There's different things that are capable of doing. The thing that I'm really excited about, though, the question they keep asking is, what can I do to help? I feel like some of that may have gotten lost in the shuffle of the discussion, is that they are trying to figure out ways to assist. And I think the lines of communication are open with them.
Oh, 100%. I will say that even though the listserv is kind of clunky at times, Bob mentioned that he doesn't see a lot of chatter. So I want to say that the first thing that we need to do is produce the chatter. They were so surprised. The webinar had a limit of 101 participants, and we blew that up to the point where they had to send out a notification, and people could not get in. We kept on having audio issues. Like, they were surprised about that, considering how they recently had a CIO call on the same day or yesterday, and the numbers that we had were not even as near as, or at least the technology call, not anywhere near that call. So there's a need, there's a want, but let's show that, starting with what they've already produced as like a, you know how it is. It's well, you already have this in place, let's definitely use this. But they're housed, like you're saying, in their own system, in their own world, and they themselves have so many things they're looking at. We already kind of know what we need, so let's kind of lead by example for them, and then they can kind of take the leash over after the fact, if they need to.
Amen, sister. And a great platform to lead by example in?
No, tell me. What?
GEG Georgia.
We do, definitely.
This is something and I'll throw myself under the bus first. I haven't used it to its full capacity.
Yeah.
We are not communicating actively on here. Maybe it's I'm a Google boy as much as anybody else, but the platform, it's not it hasn't reached the adoption status that other programs have. But man, what's happened as Google Plus has, let's say, matured, is the people, a lot of people are dropping off of it, and the environment has gotten really good. I feel like they're doing a really good job with it now. And I think we need to, I don't know, figure out ways to do more outreach, more communication between us media specialists and CIO, CTO, not CTOs, CIO, CTO, whatever you want to call it, directors of technology, and having a part of the conversation here. If anything,
and not just directors of technology. I'm going to say this as well. I think we also need curriculum directors in there too. And I say this as looking down the road, going into a position where it's going to be both of those. And Hoke Wilcox was in there earlier, and he's a director of instructional technology, and he kind of does both as well. So It really, and people brought that up. They brought up GATC, our Educational Technology Conference. They brought up DAMIS, which is traditionally the information technology, the tech director conference, and then they brought up the Georgia, is it GACIS, the curriculum and instruction, the curriculum and instruction like all of those can be leveraged. And everybody was saying, well, I know this person and this person is my boss. We can totally work those in. But I don't think that I mean, I sit on the steering committee with GATC, so I'm definitely going to bring that up as like a day before thing. But not everybody can make that. Not everybody can make all the conferences because it's hard for our roles in particular as media specialists. Shout out to y'all, especially for y'all, because in lots of cases you have a full-time teaching thing as well going on as a special, and
you can't close the media center.
Like no. So we need a variety.
The media center.
Right, and everybody's different. It's just differentiation is a basic kind of approach for any sort of learning opportunity. We need differentiated things that will sustain themselves and work. And Hangouts is one of these things. We would love to have more people on here and come talk to us and share. You have ways that people are sharing stuff and asking questions in the group, which I think is wonderful. But it's not good. So how might we, in the design thinking term, reach more people within this realm?
Right, because what happens through conversation is you start building the capacity for advocacy, which I think is something that has to happen in order to make what we do better, be more effective at it. Because right now, I used to say in a previous position, I know my boss likes me, but I'm not sure my boss knows what I do.
I actually concur. Like I have a tremendous respect for my director of technology right now. But I think talking with my colleagues, I don't think the three of us know always what each other does.
No.
Or what my media specialists do. Like there is not really a clear awareness. So how can we start building that awareness, and then how can we start bringing more people into the conversation?
How can we put a name on what we do and get some data behind it and document and do those things, make it meaningful and support each other in our growth and in our professional practice. I think that's what. Right. And again, I'm giving credit to the state, and there was some tension, let's say, that was kind of coming through in the webinar. But I do think they're asking the right questions. They're trying to figure things out. And what I think we have to do is step up and offer suggestions.
Oh yeah.
And this is a good avenue to do it.
I think so. And for GED Georgia, because we are Google based, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to use Google tools or have to discuss Google. But perhaps, good Lord, I thinking off the top of my head, I love face-to-face is still a very powerful venue. Perhaps we need more regional representation and people holding face-to-face events. The problem is be aware there is zero funding for any of it. But we're used to that in our field. At least I'm used to that also for doing some of the egg camps, but there's zero funding. So this is an initiative where you are volunteering your time. And more often than not, I get a lot of people who say, well, I don't want to work beyond my work hours. And when it comes to something like this, and I think not necessarily in instructional technology and media specialists, because we're so forced to innovate and to work beyond what we have to. Maybe it's not a problem for us, but we have to volunteer our time and step forward. If anybody wants to volunteer and say, hey, I want to host like a we had, what was it, in November 2014? That was awesome.
At the Google
headquarters. Tailgate. Yeah, it was actually at the headquarters. We had that tailgate, and people, it was BYOD, well, not BYOD, but BYOF, bring your own food.
Yes, yeah. It was
everybody brought a meal. Oh yeah, it was awesome. That way we didn't have to pay for anything. The venue was free. We cleaned up afterward, but we just had a really good ad hoc discussion. Now, for people who need a little more structure, you always can turn to us. We have materials we can share. Everybody has materials we can share. Just talking about like the certified level 1 test. Maybe you want to get together and have people on a Saturday morning or some sort of afternoon for a couple hours, get together and talk about, well, let's talk about doing the level 1 test together or studying for it. Like use that as a excuse to start getting together. And media specialists should also be Google certified. We need to push that material. Those tests are phenomenal.
Sound pedagogy.
Good Lord, yes.
Exactly what it is.
If you haven't looked, you need to look and go see the exemplars that they post of the questions. It is not like a, how do you open a Google Doc? It's all instructional reasoning and purpose.
Yep. Google.com/edu/training.
There we go.
It's all there. Google.com. I wish we could do a lower third again. I'd throw it up there, but anyway.
I know. So
come
they
on,
keep on
Google.
reinventing everything. Yeah.
Get your head in the game on that one. All right. So, yeah. So productive, great conversations coming from it, and hopefully learning something.
Right. And let's also talk about leveraging our RESAs.
Yeah.
Everybody has a RESA in Georgia. Everybody has a RESA.
Everybody has a Bucky Bush, a Brian Buffington. Wait, I just realized there's a lot of B's in there.
No, Carrie Sigmund over here in my area.
But Bucky Bush, Brian Buffington, Jim Farmer.
In South Georgia.
Great hair on Jim Farmer. Great hair.
Gosh, seriously, he's amazing.
What a head of hair.
Your instructional technology people at the RESAs, they will provide space for you legitimately. If you're like, why my schools want to, I don't know where to go, ask them. And maybe what we need to do is get a list of the RESAs or the directors of instructional technology at the RESAs and post that on the GEG Georgia as well. And we'll we can put it on the link to this video, right? We can do the comments. So that way people know like who to reach out to if they need space or they need a place to start. Don't be afraid just to start and reach out to us. We can help as well. We have ample materials and people we can turn to. We can tell you all sorts of names of, ask this person for help, or you should ask this person to come join you and do whatever you need. Even if you are in the most random county in the middle of, bacon and coffee.
Yeah.
Where when I was doing a session at JTC, we're like egg camp breakfast. If that actually still wants to happen, man, these things can be leveraged, and it just takes time. But once you get it going, you get it going. We just desperately need something now. When it comes to GEG Georgia, we can always tie things into the conferences as well. But how can we extend beyond, people beyond face-to-face things? What else can we do beyond face-to-face with GEG Georgia and the community that would help support this discussion?
I think that's where it gets into having the regional contacts, having these people that are in different parts of the state that can support each other and run this. And maybe that's, and it's a weird thing because GEG, the Google Educator groups, are simultaneously something and nothing.
Yes.
Like, this is a thing that exists in the ether that you can make something if you want. And we, like I said, we're going to make more of this. We're going to make better of this. Because we have a 879 people, and I'm about to prove another one.
Amazing. And those are mostly real people. Like, we are very careful about
I'm not
moderating. Right. We're very careful about moderating. We don't want people to be throwing in there and saying, "Hey, buy my stuff." So Lee and I have been actively moderating, but now we have such this amazing community of people who are being more active, increasingly active. In case you haven't noticed.
Right.
We need to leverage that, particularly because a lot of them are in instructional technology, or they're teachers who are technologically empowered. They should be included in this conversation. Every level of this should be included in this conversation. Building
toward advocacy.
Yes, that is exactly it. And I'm a big fan of advocacy. So let us know, what we can do for you. And if you are interested in stepping up or volunteering or, having us, even if you're like, I don't know what the heck I want to do, but I want to do something, please reach out and just let us know. I mean, and if you don't know how to, I'm trying to think if they don't know how to reach us at this point.
If you see this video, it's Lee Green and cat flipping.
Yeah, literally, yeah. And of course, we're on Twitter. You can always even if you just put a little comment and say plus cat flipping plus Lee Green. Here's my email, or hey, I want to talk. We will find ways. I will even give you my phone number just so we need to talk. And we want to be able to get this conversation going. And it was really, I guess, motivating and moving just to see, like, that chat was flying today.
Oh yeah,
flying.
There was some passion there.
Good Lord, and there's a need. Everybody feels so isolated, but we're not isolated. It's literally just physical space. But we have so many different ways of reaching out. And if you have a preference for yourself that hasn't been done, there's only 2 of us right here, but there's 800 some out there. Thousands of people doing instructional technology and media specialists. So we can leverage GEG Georgia as a unique group, particularly within the Google realm, because that's an excuse for training. That's an excuse for, us providing instruction or assistance with the level 1 cert or the level 2 cert, anything like that.
And if you're not a Google district, make a personal email address and join on up. You don't have to be a Google G Suite for Education partner.
No, I want this to be. I mean, as much as I don't want to say it necessarily, but I'm okay with device and tool agnosticism.
Platform agnostic, yeah.
There we go. Yeah, that's a great discussion to have into itself. And how can we utilize the best of both worlds? Because we want students to be able to go, switch seamlessly, that code switching, be able to switch back and forth between different word processing environments, because they need that skill for the future. So just because it's GED Georgia, we can leverage the Google part, but we don't have to.
Right.
But it does kind of have built in the Hangouts feature. Sites can be a great thing. Maybe you just want to build up resources for advocacy and communication. We don't have a Google site for GED Georgia. I don't think Lee and I have the bandwidth to maintain one.
Right.
But if you want to step up and say, hey, I have amazing, phenomenal skills with the new sites, by all means, we will be like, you are it.
Yeah, have at it.
Take it over, run. Yeah, seriously. We need some volunteership. We need some people, and we really want to spread out across Georgia, because I don't know if you heard it today too, Lee. They were talking about how all the highways, all the roads are basically disappearing around Atlanta.
Yeah,
right.
Atlanta
I-20
is
and 85 and 35 is next. That whole Kennesaw area, all your construction.
It's constricting upon itself. Maybe it's a black hole that's forming beneath the subway system.
I'm just waiting for like 285 to, I don't know, shrink into upon it. I don't know what 285 is going to do. But because of that, we have so many people saying Savannah, South Georgia, Macon, and then all the northern mountainous people are like, please come to me. Please come to me. So we want to enable that. And frankly, I love driving, and I will happily come to whatever event you want to do. Happy to come and support.
Amen. All right. So long story short, let's keep talking. Let's leverage this and put stuff out there and be an asset to each other. Amen.
And, who knows, maybe we can eventually have some sort of, because there was a Google Summit, kind of sort of a leadership summit at Spark a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Let's see if we can't, those of you who are big Google districts, leverage that a couple more times, get in contact with our regional rep and see if we can't have a couple more of those, because that was a phenomenal learning experience unto itself. If we had something a little more problematic like that, that would be wonderful.
Amen.
Awesome.
All right. So yeah, hit us up. Cat Flippin', it's Lee Green, plus Lee Green, plus Cat Flippin'.
At Cat Flippin' at Gmail, or Twitter, and Cat Flippin'. Literally, it's Cat Flippin' everything.
Yeah, it's Lee Green on Twitter.
Everything. Yeah.
So, all right. So, Kat, it's great to see you.
Oh, so nice to see you too. It's kind of funny just to get a little weird here, but because innovator applications are out.
Yes.
It's kind of fun God, Lee, it's been how many years now? 4?
2013.
2013.
Yeah. Holy cow. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's an amazing experience, and we're also here, by the way, to look at we will look at your applications and help you walk through those. So don't not leverage us. We're happy to volunteer our time.
Please and thank you.
Yes.
All right, gotta go get the kids.
All right, I have to leave in a little bit too after I have a meeting.
All right, thanks guys. Have a great day, weekend, wherever you are, whenever you are. So thanks so much.
All right, bye.